Hey there, English learners. Welcome to your go-to English podcast for learning English and improving your life. I'm Erin.
And I'm Evan. Whether you've set big goals for the year or you're just tired of starting over every Monday, this episode is going to hit home. Because today, we're flipping the script.
That's right. We're not talking about setting more goals. We're talking about building systems. Simple daily structures that help you succeed without burning out or feeling like a failure.
Yep, we've all been there. Writing down a list of big dreams, feeling super motivated, and then nothing happens. The goal stays on paper and real life takes over.
That's why this episode is so important. Goals give you direction, but systems give you progress. So today, we're diving into how to build the kind of system that quietly, consistently changes your life.
And of course, stay tuned till the end, because our language ninja Charlotte will break down some really useful intermediate level vocabulary from today's episode.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's start with something most people totally ignore. Your identity shapes your habits. I used to set goals like, I want to speak fluent Spanish, but I still thought of myself as someone who wasn't good at languages. And guess what? I barely practiced. My identity didn't match the goal.
Totally been there. I used to say, I want to be a writer, but I didn't write, not even a sentence a week. The turning point? I stopped waiting to become a writer and just acted like one. That one shift changed everything.
Yes. And for English learners listening, you might say, I want to be fluent. But do you see yourself as an English speaker right now? Because here's the deal. You don't become the person first and then act like them. You act like the person, and slowly you become them.
That's a huge insight. Think of it like putting on a new pair of shoes. You may not feel like they fit at first, but the more you walk in them, the more natural they feel.
So if you're learning English, don't say, I'm trying to learn English. Say, I'm an English speaker in progress.
Exactly. The words you use to describe yourself matter. They set the tone for how you show up every day.
Now, once you've started stepping into that identity, let's talk about the next piece. Start small, like comically small.
Oh yeah, I used to go all in. I'll study for 2 hours every night, which lasted exactly 2 nights. But then I learned the trick. Start with just 1 minute. I committed to reading Spanish for 60 seconds before bed. And funny enough, I'd usually go for 10.
Because that 1 minute builds momentum. It's like rolling a tiny snowball down a hill. It doesn't look like much at first, until it turns into an avalanche. The secret isn't how much you do, it's how often you do it.
Totally. The consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds capability. It's not flashy, but it works.
And if you're trying to build an English habit, just start by reading 1 sentence a day. That's it.
Exactly. Keep it so easy your brain can't come up with an excuse.
Now, Erin, let's talk about one of the most underrated habit tools, cues, these little triggers in your day that silently nudge you into action, often without you even realizing it.
Totally. I noticed every time I made coffee, I'd instinctively check my phone. It wasn't planned, it was just a cue response loop. So I thought, what if I changed the response? Now, when the kettle's on, I grab my English notebook instead.
Yes, that's the magic. You don't need to fight your habits. You just need to rewire the cues. Pair an existing routine, like brushing your teeth or making breakfast, with a tiny helpful behavior, like listening to an English podcast.
If you always check your phone in the morning, make your phone's lock screen say, name 3 things in English. That cue alone can spark practice, even before you open an app.
Now let's move from the invisible to the visible. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping what you actually do. It's like your silent teammate or your biggest saboteur.
Totally agree. I had this beautiful journal I wanted to use for English notes, but I kept it in a drawer, out of sight, out of mind. The moment I left it on my nightstand, with a pen on top, it became part of my routine. No mental effort required.
That's the key. You don't need more motivation. You need better triggers. Your environment should whisper to you, hey, it's time for this. Like when I leave my headphones next to my toothbrush, it's my cue to play an English podcast while brushing.
Love that. It's like setting up little traps, but for good habits. Instead of fighting bad ones, you just make the helpful ones automatic.
Exactly. And for all our English learners out there, here's a fun trick. Make your environment speak English to you. Stick Post-its on your mirror with questions like, what did I learn today? Or, how do I feel right now in English?
Ooh, I like that. Or keep your favorite English YouTube video open in a browser tab, so it's waiting for you like a friend. That's how you make English part of your environment.
And once your environment is working with you, not against you, here comes the fun part, tracking. I used to think tracking was all about pressure and perfection, but it's actually about momentum. There's something so satisfying about seeing your progress build, even in tiny steps.
Yes, it's like planting seeds and seeing little green shoots pop up. I started marking a simple tick on my calendar every time I practiced English for 10 minutes. After a week, I didn't want to break the chain. That visual progress made it motivating to keep going.
Right? And it doesn't have to be fancy. A sticky note, a tally in your notebook, a habit tracking app, anything that reminds you, hey, look how far you've come. Progress fuels motivation like nothing else.
Exactly. And if you're learning English, don't stress over speaking perfectly every day. Instead, track the time you showed up. 10 minutes reading, 5 minutes speaking, whatever it is. That effort? That's your real win.
All right, now let's talk about the invisible force that everyone forgets when building good habits. Willpower.
Oh yes, the mysterious energy that seems to vanish by the time the sun sets. Like, where does it even go?
Seriously, willpower isn't endless. It's more like your phone battery. Every little decision, what to eat, what to wear, whether to study, slowly drains it. And by the evening, you're running on 5%.
Totally. I used to believe I needed more willpower to be consistent with podcasting. But what helped me most wasn't pushing harder. It was prepping smarter. Now I set everything up the night before. Mic, outline, even the lighting. No decisions left to make, just hit record.
Same idea for English learners. If you prep your tools the night before, your notebook, app, or even a sticky note with a sentence to practice, you're not depending on morning motivation. You're just following a path that's already there.
That's the magic. Systems don't ask you to be perfect. They just ask you to prepare. And when you do, you win, even on the hard days.
Now this next one is surprisingly powerful. Celebration. Most of us don't celebrate small wins. We just move on to the next thing. Or worse, beat ourselves up for not doing more.
Totally. I used to think, why would I celebrate practicing English for 10 minutes? It's not a big deal. But it is. Every small win is a deposit into your self-belief account. And when you feel good, you're way more likely to keep going.
Exactly. When I first started building my podcasting habit, I'd literally say out loud, "Nice one, Evan," every time I finished recording, even if it was short. Sounds silly, but it rewired how I saw myself, not as someone trying to create, but as someone who does.
That's such a great example. And it totally applies to learning English too. After your next study session, even just 5 minutes, pause, smile, give yourself a high five in the mirror, or say, "I'm proud of that." That quick moment of celebration, it tells your brain, hey, this matters. And that's how you turn effort into lasting habits.
And finally, let's zoom out for a second. Systems are amazing, but they're even more powerful when they're connected to a bigger vision. I don't mean a perfect 10-year plan. I mean a direction, a feeling, a why.
Yes, your vision is your internal compass. When I decided to improve my English years ago, it wasn't just about grammar. It was because I wanted to connect with people from around the world. That deeper why kept me going, even when progress felt slow.
So true. Your system gets you through the day-to-day, but your vision pulls you forward when things get tough. That's what transforms effort into meaning.
Right? And if you're learning English, do this for yourself. Write somewhere visible. Why do I want to speak English? Not just for a test or a job, but maybe to connect with people, to feel more confident, or to grow as a person. That emotional reason, it'll carry you much further than any goal ever could.
So there it is. Systems over goals. They're not dramatic or glamorous, but they're steady, dependable, and honestly, they'll change your life if you stick with them.
And now, let's pass the mic to Charlotte for your vocabulary breakdown, so you can sound smarter and build better systems. Charlotte, over to you.
Hey everyone, it's Charlotte. Let's break down some useful words from today's episode so you can sound more natural and confident in your English. Ready? Let's go. Flip. Meaning, to turn or change something completely. Example, they decided to flip their living room layout for a fresh new vibe. Insight. Meaning, a deep understanding of something. Example, his conversation with the mechanic gave him valuable insight into how cars actually work. Barely. Meaning, almost not, just a little. Example, she barely made it to the bus stop before it pulled away. Identity. Meaning, how you see yourself or how others see you. Example, becoming a parent shifted his whole identity. Momentum. Meaning, the force that keeps something moving once it has started. Example, after finally cleaning one drawer, she gained momentum and tackled the whole kitchen. Avalanche. Meaning, a large overwhelming amount of something. Example, after returning from vacation, he faced an avalanche of emails. Consistency. Meaning, doing something regularly without stopping. Example, the key to staying fit isn't intensity, it's consistency. Flashy. Meaning, something that looks exciting or impressive, but often isn't useful. Example, that flashy car looks great but breaks down all the time. Cues. Meaning, signals that tell you to do something. Example, the sunset was her cue to start her evening walk. Triggers. Meaning, things that cause a reaction or response. Example, the smell of cookies always triggers childhood memories for him. Instinctively. Meaning, doing something automatically without thinking. Example, she instinctively reached for her coat when the wind picked up. Saboteur. Meaning, someone or something that secretly ruins progress. Example, his procrastination was the hidden saboteur of his career goals. Willpower. Meaning, the strength to control your actions or choices. Example, it took all his willpower not to eat the entire cake in one sitting. Obsess. Meaning, to think or worry too much about something. Example, she used to obsess over having a perfect accent, even though people understood her clearly. Outcome. Meaning, the final result of an action or plan. Example, the outcome of eating healthier and exercising regularly was that he lost 10 kilos in 3 months. Intentional. Meaning, done on purpose, not random. Example. She made an intentional choice to spend Sundays with her family instead of checking emails. Reliable. Meaning, something you can depend on. Example. My old car may not be fancy, but it's reliable. It's never broken down once in 5 years. Reflect. Meaning, to think carefully about something. Example. After the argument, he took a quiet walk to reflect on what went wrong and how he could fix it. That's it for today. Use a few of these words this week and I promise, you'll sound more fluent and confident in no time. See you in the next vocabulary breakdown.
Thanks, Charlotte. That was super helpful.
And that's a wrap for today. Keep practicing, keep building, and let your system do the heavy lifting.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Take care and happy learning.
Bye for now.
Channel.